Good morning, colleagues. I am Lakhtakia from the Pennsylvania State University. I will speak to you today for a few minutes on the theme of Drawdown, that is uniting sane and scientifically spirited Americans in response to climate emergency. Let me begin by reassuring you that between 50 and 71% of the American public has accepted that this climate emergency is being caused by human action. Thus, there is a significant disparity between the American people's views and the current federal administration. However, stupidity against the climate emergency abounds elsewhere too, as displayed by Dutch farmers on October 1, 2019, protesting against measures to cut climate change. These negations are remarkable because even a dyed-in-the-wool capitalist rag such as The Economist is concerned about this climate emergency. My university, Penn State, is taking resolute action to reduce and reverse climate change. We have a Sustainability Institute, which is incorporating the 3 R's: reduce, reuse, and recycle throughout the university, and also composting all compostables. We have 26 campuses spread all over the state of Pennsylvania. The president of Penn State, Eric Barron, is a climatologist. 2 weeks ago, he inaugurated a solar park that would provide 25% of Penn State's statewide electricity needs for 25 years. Not surprisingly, Penn State hosted the first Drawdown conference last month. Project Drawdown is the brainchild of Paul Hawken, an environmentalist, entrepreneur, author, and activist. He founded the Project Drawdown team, which is collaborating with Penn State, Georgia Tech, and several other universities in the United States. Plus, there are collaborators worldwide. Climate drawdown is the point at which greenhouse gas concentrations in the atmosphere level off and begin to decline on a year-to-year basis. In 2017, Paul Hawken edited a book in which 100 major actions were presented towards drawdown. The next version of this book will be released in 2020 or 2021. The conference at Penn State had 8 themes, 7 of which are explicitly technoscientific and 1 is societal. First theme: cities are population concentrators. If a city is a sprawl, like most US cities are, it seems, it causes deforestation, destruction of wetlands, and the development of massive heat islands. If a city is compact, it can have reduced energy consumption, transportation infrastructure, and effluent release. Second theme: energy generation currently produces 40% of greenhouse gases and depletes natural resources. Something has to be done about that. Third theme: food production, especially meat production, as well as food processing industries, release both carbon dioxide and methane in the atmosphere. These emissions require reduction. Fourth theme: biomass can sequester significant amount of greenhouse gases. Thus, appropriate land use involving reforestation and wetland restoration will be a major mitigator of climate change. Fifth theme: all engineering is a transformation of energy into materials and vice versa. The production of materials for diverse products degenerates the ecosystem by polluting land, air, and water. The use of those products consumes energy and releases pollutants. The disposal of those products is hugely wasteful. Sixth theme: marine ecosystems are both relocating and declining in extent in response to changes in temperature profiles. Species consumed by humans have declined rapidly due to overfishing. Fertilizers and microplastics are being dumped by the hundreds of tons every day. Oceans no longer have the capacity to absorb human refuse. Seventh theme, transportation produces 14% of all emissions. There is an urgent need to eliminate emissions both by using different fuels and by restricting travel distances and frequencies. Finally, the eighth theme, lack of gender equity means that we are not using all the brain capacity that humankind collectively has. Furthermore, gender equity will affect fertility rates and population growth. The Project Drawdown personnel at the conference outlined solutions that will use materials currently disposed of as waste. They also identified transition solutions for the short and intermediate terms, but eventually those solutions will be replaced by sustainable solutions. Already 20% of electricity worldwide is being generated using sustainable drawdown solutions. These include solar, tidal, wind, and geothermal. Prioritization of these drawdown solutions differently in different locations has been attempted by the Project Drawdown team. In plausible drawdown and optimum scenarios for the year 2050. In the plausible scenario, strong reduction of fossil fuels will occur by 2050. In the drawdown scenario, complete elimination of fossil fuels will occur by that year. In the optimum scenario, neither fossil nor nuclear fuels will be in use by 2050. In the plausible scenario, drawdown solutions will be used for generating 90% of electricity needed in 2050. Here are a few take-home messages that should resonate with engineers. First, the only form of energy to be generated and distributed must be electricity, and that should be done using low pollution sources such as solar, wind, geothermal, and tidal. Pumped hydro can be used for storage of energy generated. Nuclear generation can be a transition solution. Energy generated as electricity must be converted into other fuels such as hydrogen close to the points of use. And there should be massive decentralization of electricity production, especially at the microwatt level. Circular economy must be actively promoted for energy materials. Agroforestry is needed for soil conservation and carbon dioxide absorption. There should be round-the-year crop diversification, no-till and fallow cycles, ocean farming of kelp and seaweeds, consumption of non-meat proteins, compactification and verticalization of cities, the use of living buildings, and the construction of smart cities. And finally, women must be co-equal decision makers. Returning to Penn State, here is our definition of sustainability: the simultaneous pursuit of human health and happiness, environmental quality, and economic well-being for current and future generations. We have a conglomerate of research institutes on energy and environment, along with an ethics research institute. The Penn State Institutes of Energy and the Environment have more than 250 faculty affiliates from diverse colleges, as illustrated here. The Penn State Institutes of Energy and the Environment co-fund faculty positions in diverse departments in the colleges of Penn State. From 2008 to 2013, 29 co-funded faculty members were hired to focus on future energy supply, smart energy systems, water science and biogeochemical cycles, health and environment, and climate and ecosystem change. This practice of co-funding continues. In order to combat climate emergency, A large part of my current research work is focused on solar cells because cheap solar energy will reduce poverty and facilitate female literacy. At the Penn State Drawdown Conference, Faiz Ahmed, a PhD student of mine, presented his research on SIGS and CZT SSE solar cells. With increased efficiency, these thin film solar cells can turn out to be useful for on-site generation of microwatt power. At DTU, Dr. Torben Lenau and I are collaborating on colored solar cells to facilitate adoption of rooftop solar cells by aesthetically discriminating citizens. Ladies and gentlemen, I am an old-fashioned stamp collector. When I saw this stamp released by the United Nations on October 2nd, I couldn't help myself from sharing it with all of you today. It combines two favorite themes of mine. Thank you.